friends. I've got dogs barking, loud trucks going by, and airplanes overhead, so we'll see. I'm hoping that I can get this video to you. There will definitely be dogs barking in the background, but I want to get this out, so hopefully you'll be forgiving of that. I can't remember the name of this plant, and apparently it made Plant of the Year, so if I remember, I'll put it in the description box below. But I wanted to show it to you because it was a gift that I got Friday. And so my father did die, he did pass, and it was a rough couple of months for the whole family and for him. He just had a rough exit, and you know, there are easier stories and harder stories, but I think the gift in someone having a big challenge before they transition out of out of this life is that it helps us let go, being willing to let go, and I did not want to let go, so it was helpful in terms of, you don't want them to be suffering anymore, so that's the gift in it. And this was a beautiful gift, and the next thing we're going to look at too, from my friend who sent them in the mail to me, or had them sent. But I just thought this was so incredible, such a unique plant. The texture of kind of this lightly scalloped edge, the gorgeous pattern, and then the red or the deep maroon underneath each leaf. It's incredible. And she also said it apparently had a significant meaning, so I will look that up and see if I can link that to you below. But I wanted to share that with you because it's just absolutely beautiful. And we've passed the funeral and moving my father out of both the home that he was in the last few years of his life and the assisted living that he was in the last couple of months. And that was naturally a rough time for everyone. And now we've had the funeral. It's interesting how it's kind of like you're in business mode, and then there's enough space to grieve, but by the time you're ready for that, it's time to get back to life and work, and the bereavement period is past for work, so that's the tricky part. But it was a really beautiful funeral. All of my siblings were able to be together, which we haven't all been together, I don't think, for years all at the same time, so it was honestly really beautiful. We each got to speak, and everybody's speech, if that's the right word, was just a beautiful celebration of his life, and it was kind of interesting to see, who he was for each of us, how he showed it up for each of his kids. There were 5 of us growing up. They had 6 children, my parents. And my mom died about 14 years ago. Or no, let's see, about 16 years ago now. And my father lived to 92, so he had a beautiful, long life. But I just liked having him around. He just, as I think I said before, made the planet a kinder place. He made this life a kinder place. It was just beautiful to have him around. So there's my wonderful plant. And now I'm going to do a kind of funny unboxing. So my friend had also sent fruit to me and some chocolates. And so those are not inside this box. What is inside of this box is, or are, some eggs that my mom used to collect, different kinds of eggs from all over the world. And I don't know if you would consider them Easter eggs or not. I don't know if they have that religious meaning in other parts of the world, so I'll just say eggs. And so I've hidden them in this box, or tucked them into this box, which is not really how they are. But at my father's, there was a little nightstand or jewelry stand, I'm not sure what, and when we opened the drawer, there were these eggs inside. And it was going to be taken to the thrift store, because what I learned in the last several years of parents passing, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this, is that when your parents go, or a sibling, there's all these things that have meaning to them, and therefore they have meaning for you. But you've spent a lifetime filling your house up with other things that have meaning to you. And so there's not room to store even between all of the siblings. There's just not room to keep all of the things that have meaning. So we each saved a few things when my mother passed and also again when my father passed that are meaningful. So this one's kind of a little bit of both because I got it from my father's house, but it has my mother's little eggs inside. So I'm just going to open this up, and the fruit was in here, tied up with this beautiful green bow ribbon. So I'll untie that. And then I'll just play a little bit with this, I don't think it's raffia, it's just tiny pieces of paper cut up. And I can hear the dog barking, so I'll just play with this for quite a while, and then we'll get into the eggs. If you don't like the sound of cardboard, I'll maybe put a link below to where just the eggs start. And I can't handle the sound of cardboard against cardboard, but I'm okay with fingers and fingernails on cardboard for whatever reason. But I won't scratch it. Might just be a little too much for people. We'll just tap it and maybe run my fingers along the edge a little bit where there's some texture. And I always save my ribbon and reuse it at Christmas time or holiday time or any kind of birthday or gift time. That's a pretty spring green. This is something that I've talked about, Whispers Red being an ASMR artist that I enjoy, and she always has some little fun surprise tucked in a purse or tucked in a box or a basket with some of this filler. And I just love those, so I'll give her credit for that. You can see some of the eggs peeking through, I think there a little bit. And there are some egg stands too. This one looks like it's been hand painted. Beautiful. In past videos that I've shown you, my mother always put the name of the country that she'd gotten it from, if it was a doll or if it was, dishes, that sort of thing, but none of these have anything on them, at least that I've seen so far. Let's see, maybe I'll put, oops, hope that's not too loud, I'll put that over there. So first up is this wooden painted egg with a pretty and simple pattern and that kind of hot pink color. That pink always reminds me of Hawaii for some reason. I think this actually might be a real egg. It's heavy, so they probably poured some filler in it, but you can see there's a little hole in the bottom and there's a patched up little hole in the top. I don't know if you can see that, but that tells me that it was probably a real egg that's been painted and lacquered. I never knew that. A couple of these eggs I remember seeing at her home or at our home when I was older, but mostly either it's been so long I don't remember them or she had them tucked away and we never saw them. Pretty egg. That doesn't look like that's going to fit on there very well, so that must not be the one it's meant for. And let's see, oh, this is the same. So if anyone knows where this type of egg would have been made, it's not the style of the Ukrainian eggs that I used to do years ago with the waxing and where you dye it in sequences and do layers of color almost like a batiking. So I don't know if anybody knows what part of the world this is from. If this happens to be from your country or culture, I would love to know. Really incredible colors. This one has a really bright pink and yellow, and then the base of the egg is green. And there's almost a texture on it that would make me think it's wooden, but I think that it's the fact that there is this hole on the bottom and the top, the patched one. I think it's a real egg. This pretty but simple little design with a little fine-tipped paintbrush. This one has a little pink dot over one of the raindrop-shaped. And I think that's not intentional because this side doesn't have it. See if this side does. Nope. Very cool. Okay, there's that. And there are little stains in here tucked away, so I'll pull out some of those too. This is a cute little wooden 3-pronged egg holder. I visited with actually both of my sisters separately today. And my older sister was saying she wished that I would still make the eggs, the Ukrainian style eggs. And I, over time, have broken or tossed them, so I don't even have any left. But they were fun to do. Who knows, someday maybe I'll get into it again. I still have the little bamboo holder and the tip that's brass that you melt the wax in over the candle. I still have it. Sorry, maybe someday. All right, there's that one. And let's see if I can find a stand that fits this one. This is another 3-pronged, just a little bit bigger than the other one. We'll see if that will hold this egg. This one has a little bit of a double edge on it. All right, let's see if that works. Yeah, good. I don't know if those in frame so that you can see them. Is that going to be a little bit, maybe? Let's see. We'll move that up. There we go. Okay. This one's kind of a neat one. Yep, once again, I can see that there's the top of it. The bottom has the hole. I always thought that this was wooden. It looks wooden. I sure hope the dog in the background feels like it's in the, if I hear a dog in the distant background, it can almost be kind of calming if it's not constant, but when it's really close and constant, it can get very annoying. And this one has been going for the last couple of hours. I got a new kitty, or actually, his name is Freddie, and he's 4 years old, and if I remember, I'll throw in a picture. But I got him the day after my father died. I had been looking to adopt a cat and had gone to visit him the week before. And as it turned out, I brought him home the day after, and it's been really, honestly, incredibly sweet. I bring that up so you can see the pattern. This one's pretty detailed. Just turn it a little bit so you can see that. But he's been a sweet gift. And he's just an easy cat. He's sitting right now in the window, just kind of resting. They're so good at that. Okay. This one is made out of marble. It's pretty. Stone. It's been carved and honed. That almost looks like it would hold a tea light candle, so I wonder if that's really what it was for, or if it was made to hold an egg. There we go. There's a little wooden one that I can put that smaller egg on. Oh no, I know which one goes on this, I think anyway. This really beautiful one. I've shown you my Patricica dolls before, and there's one that matches this, or is very similar in style, I should say. And I think they were from Minsk, but I could be wrong, and again, somebody can let me know down below. But she didn't write it on the bottom. This one is definitely wooden. It does not have the little hole in the bottom and the top, so this would be, and it has the same paint style as the dolls. And that reminds me that I have not seen those since I moved, so I need to find those. Figure out where I tucked them. So beautiful. That gold leaf paint is just incredible. Tiny little face. Look how detailed her eyes and eyelashes are. I hope you can see that. Looks like it's not completely focusing. And her braid, her beautiful little bow. So pretty. And this is actually just wood. And the shape of the flower is burned into the wood. And the gold leaf paint in the center. And that's all done with a heat tool that just lightly burns the pattern in the wood. So pretty. I hope the lighting is good enough that you can see. Okay, there we go. Whoops. And let's see, are there any more eggs in here? Yes, there are. Here's a nice big one. I'm betting that will fit in here, I hope. Does this one? Nope, that one's too little. This one reminds me of a cloisonne egg, but I don't believe that it is. I think this is also a real egg because it has that indent in the top that kind of is flat. But look at those colors. It's just gorgeous. Yeah. I'm going to turn that really slow, and maybe I'll even finger trace those flowers a little bit. They're so beautiful. I just love colors. I always think, oh, this is my favorite color combination. And then I'll see some neutrals and I'll think, oh, I love the calming neutrals. And then I see some bright colors and I think, oh, I love the bright colors. So I think I just love color. Certainly there are combinations of color that I don't like. And I love, well, so here's purple. I once painted a basement purple, and it was almost that lighter purple color, and it had this sheen to it. I think I've actually told you guys this story before, so I apologize. Hopefully you've forgotten. But anyway, I painted the basement, 2 walls, and I would go down in the basement, and I could not be in the room with the color. I've never experienced that before, and I love purple, but living in it was different. It was like, and it looked pretty. You know, if I painted a little patch, I'm like, ooh, that's gorgeous. It had kind of an iridescent quality to it. I could not stand to be in the room. So that was my first experience with learning how much color affects us. And then I painted it kind of a sky blue, maybe just a hair deeper than a sky blue. And nowadays I would probably, a whole room of that, I think, oh, that's too much. But back then I loved it. And it felt like I was at the beach every time I went downstairs, like I was in this beautiful blue, crystal blue sky. I was perfectly happy in it. So, color. Years ago when I was directing, I directed for a place called the Peninsula Civic Light Opera in San Mateo, California. And I directed Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And the choreographer, and I just adored him. He was really wonderful to work with. He was allergic to the color purple. Like he would get physically ill. We'd have to send out a thing to let people know that they could not wear purple to the audition, could not show up at all in purple, and during the rehearsal process, we could not have any purple. And he was the nicest person, so it wasn't, you know, him being particular at all. He just would get physically ill, would, I guess, actually make him throw up if he were around it too long. So I've never heard of such a thing. I never knew that was possible. So there we go. Color. Look at those gorgeous green leaves with the silver, really fine silver outline. Can you see that? Gold leaf outline. This one is just so detailed. It's beautiful. Okay, let's see if that one fits in there. It does. Good. Okay. And then, oh, here's one that has a base leaf on it. Glued to it. Isn't that beautiful? This one truly looks old-fashioned to me. Look at that detail. I just can't even imagine having the ability to paint in that detail. I hope it's bright enough for you to see. I'm going to turn the other light on one moment. That beautiful rose. And the little daisies, just super fine. So sweet. Both sides. And then it kind of reminds me of like the two-toned leaves where they most likely put dip the paintbrush in two colors. Reminds me of toll painting. I don't know if any of you remember toll painting was a big thing. I think in the 70s my mom toll painted and did flowers and things on these wooden frames, or not frames, but wooden, oh, I don't know what you call it. So anyway, and then you would kind of stain it and put a coating over the top, kind of like this, kind of a lacquer. And it was so popular. And then I remembered they became very out of fashion and looked very dated. And I remember them all getting put away. And then in time, they become kind of the retro thing. They're kind of popular again, and people think it's wonderful to see those homemade things. So anyway, this has a fun little brass base that's glued on. Little tiny ridge. So there's that one. And last, I think I got everything out of here. So this one is Murano, made in Italy. So she likely picked that up in Italy. My dad worked for United Airlines, and he was the head of stewardess training when they used to call them stewardesses back in the day, I think in the 60s, 50s, 60s. And then he became the manager of flight training programs. So we got to travel quite a bit when we were little. And they traveled the most, of course, my dad and mom. And I sometimes feel a little jealous that I was the youngest and I didn't get to go on as many trips. But then when I got older, I got to go to Taiwan and Hong Kong. And then also my father and I went, just the two of us, with another father and his daughter, biking on a bike trip through Greece. And we weren't able to bike a whole lot in Athens because it was just too busy and the streets were too small. But we also went to Vienna, Austria, and Salzburg. And Vienna was one of my favorites. It was just such a cool place. And then we ended up in Paris. By the time we got to Paris, I had a migraine that lasted for a couple days, and I just wasn't able to tour Paris, so that was a bummer. But it was a cool trip. Okay, thank you for spending time with me. It was great to see you virtually, and I've been in the 13,000 range for probably 3 years, and that's fantastic. And if I'm always in that range, that's fine, but you know, it doesn't hurt to hit the subscribe button and to hit the like button. So if you are inclined to either one, why, that would be wonderful. Either way, thanks for stopping by. It was wonderful to spend time with you.